Just the unmute button. All right. Let's get ready for a nice show. Let me shut down some of these unnecessary windows. All right. All right. Mic check. Yeah. Good. Everyone can hear me. That's good stuff. All right. Close down these Adobe softwares. Let me get in the way. Get in the way. Don't need that open. No, sir. All right. Fantastic. Keep that one open just in case. Blah, blah, blah. PDF. Yep. Need that to do the show. So, oh, have I got rid of no one? Probably have, haven't I? Oh, what am I doing? Wait a minute. Am I? Hold on. Hold on now. There it is. Oh, there it is. Come back. All right. Excellent. Fantastic. Now. All right. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to make a quick switch between there. Look at that. Look at that. We're going to switch and in 4 buttons. Look at that. Transition. All right. Welcome, everyone. It's Rap Raven. Welcome to the Betterment Broadcast. For those who are live, you know, your opinions matter. You can always leave any comments and jump in. That's the nature of the show. And for those who are not live, hopefully you get some kind of interesting perspectives and ways to become constructive. So let's go through the normal intro that we do week to week because it's important. Right. So after much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently Black people are collectively inadequate. That's right. Very, very challenging truth. But we're aware of it now because we're aware of it. We're going to try to do something about it. People might jump on today. If they do, let's try to maintain the 4D values. And hopefully you can use these 4D values anywhere outside of this actual broadcast in life, generally when you're trying to fix Black issues. And that is discipline, dedication, discernment, and dignity. Those 4D values there will help you find solutions with other Black people. Trust me. I've tried it and it works. So give it a go. See if it helps you try to find solutions that Black people definitely do need. All right. Yeah. Also, when you're talking, maybe if you can like do more descriptive language and less derogatory language to each other, you know, that would be a good idea. Some people have become very used to using very colorless language to other brothers and sisters. Probably we should not do that when we're in the act of trying to find solutions, but let me know how that works for you. Here's some examples of how people speak. Maybe use more languages towards the right of the screen, voila, and less towards the left of the screen, which is here. All right. Speaking of screens, let me give you full read mode. Look at that, more space. Is ace, excellento. Right, good. Got a great topic today. Make sure I've got the right one. So Black Betterment is Black people helping Black people on Black issues for Betterment. So that's Black Betterment. This entire show is about Black people helping Black people on Black issues. And hopefully that lifestyle is what we're going to make very infectious and beautifully affect every single Black person in the world to actually start looking inwards for solutions and working together to find fantastic solutions to challenges. Yeah, let me just make sure I didn't even download that video, you know. There was one video I wanted to download, but I'll download it as I do the others, so not to worry. Excellent, cool. Right, so where are we at the moment? Okay, what are the most constructive ways for Black men to talk to Black women about hair preferences? Now, this is a very, very, in some circles, is a very, very taboo subject, and there is a deep history about Black people here in general, but obviously, Black women's hair. Some Black women, their hair is the center of their identity, or a part of their identity, I should say. You know, some use it as a way to be alluring, to represent themselves. Very, very important part of, people who have hair or don't have hair or tie their hair. All the kind of techniques of hair is important, and is a very cultural moment, and it's something that, unfortunately, has caused some alarming aspects to some people and been a cause of anxiety. And hopefully through Black Betterment we can have a understanding of what's going on and try to find solutions. So before I'm thinking what order should I do it in, because I don't want to start certain things and go down a certain road, but let's go with the video thing. So I'll be talking through some of the videos. I'll just play 1 or 2 videos for now. Have a listen while I try to download something. Go.
What is it?
Rewind.
This wasn't something that I'd sort of experienced myself, obviously, from a sort of different cultural background. But to hear what you're suggesting, that black women are made to feel that they can't wear their hair naturally, was quite a surprise to me.
Is it?
Or was it?
Yeah, I don't. But to the idea that it's actually they don't feel like they can wear it naturally.
Yeah, I think it's something that's really subtle. It's not being told to you directly from society, but it's everything that you see all around you. And when you see professional women or professional black women, they all have straightened hair, and as you grow up, you know, you're told that if you want to be successful in life, if you want to go anywhere, you have to have your hair look presentable. And what's presentable hair? It's straight hair. So from very young...
Is it though? Because your hair's not straight and it's hugely presentable.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it is. I mean, there's nobody that would say it's in any way, whatever job you were doing, you know, because some jobs have more formal, you know, ideas of what's presentable than other. No one's going to say you're not neat and tidy.
Well, that's not true, but let's carry on.
Well, that's what you say, but actually there are some people that do say that. I think it's just, in a sense, it's an unconditioned bias. You don't really realise what you're saying. But it starts from very young. So I've got a few women who would come to me and say, ever since I started the campaign, that, oh, their 3-year-old or 4-year-old wants to have straight hair, because that's all they see. You know, the books they read, the TV they watch, the adverts they see on, whether it's adverts in magazines, you know, on TV, and, you know, I nearly said radio. But yeah, so it's just that subtle thing of, you know, if you want to look beautiful, if you want to look presentable, this is how you're supposed to look. And it's not just hair, it's body as well. Skin tone, body shape, you know, but hair is just, you know, thrown into the mix. Dermatologists and trichologists will tell you that using the chemicals on your hair to straighten it is dangerous. Using straighteners as often as we have to use straighteners if we want to keep our hair straight is dangerous. It breaks the hair, and you see little girls, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, having, you know, the hairline of maybe, say, someone who's much older, is in 80 or 70 years old, because it's broken off. Young women as young as 30 are permanently bald now because of the hair grooming practices, because they're trying to make their hair different. So yes, it's a choice, but, you know, is the choice an empowering choice? That's what we need to ask.
All right, cool. There you go. I was going to talk through that, but because I'm trying to download this other video, I have to. You might hear it, so I'm jumping between. But while we're doing that, there's one other video. Now we have two choices. We have the normal video where a lady explains something, and we have another one where there's a lady explains something with fantastic graphics. Well, I'm not too sure if that one will get me flagged, but let's go that way anyway. This is all for research purposes. This is from a news channel, so hopefully I can cite my references there. So this is a lady, I think her name is Emma. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm a bad person when it comes to some names sometimes. And she's going to explain, and then hopefully I'll jump in and out. But let me see if I get some video. But go, rewind.
What does our world tell us about hair? From fairy tales to advertisements, movies and music videos, our icons are typically lusciously locked. Long, flowing hair has been a powerful marker of being a woman. But that's not how Afro-textured hair grows. Our hair generally grows upward and is tightly coiled, like this and like this. So what does our world tell us about Afro hair?
Black students at the prestigious Pretoria High School for Girls protested a clause that banned wide cornrows, braids, and dreadlocks.
There's an online petition demanding that Beyonce and Jay-Z do something about their daughter Blue Ivy's hair. One commentator said, quote, "No child whose mom spends thousands on her hair monthly should live life looking like a sheep."
Right now, school administrators say the girl's hair is a problem and it needs to be straightened or she'll get kicked out. But her mom doesn't understand how her hair looking like this is wrong.
Mystic Valley Regional Charter School says the two sophomore students' hair extensions violates its dress code. So they're being disciplined with detention and are prohibited from taking part in extracurricular activities.
Mainstream beauty doesn't have black women in mind. Instead, black women with Afro hair are expected to conform to an aesthetic that values straight hair. That desire for straight hair is a construct that started during colonization. Let me explain. From my earliest memories, my hair was presented as a problem that needed to be managed. The concept of leaving my hair the way it grew from my head was crazy to me. From weaves to extensions, jerry curls, curly perms, straight perms, and straighteners, my hair was hidden. It was misunderstood, it was damaged, it was broken, and it was completely unloved. That's not surprising. I never saw anybody with hair like mine. Afro-textured hair was, and in many places is, stigmatized to the point of taboo. But it wasn't always this way. In the mid-1400s, Alvise Cadamosto made 2 trips to Africa. In his journal, he wrote this about the people in West Africa. Both sexes go barefooted and have no coverings to their heads, and weave and tie their hair, though short, into neat tresses. Neat tresses. Cadamosto's accounts were positive, partially because transatlantic enslavement didn't exist yet. There was no imperative to dehumanize Africans. To European observers, there is no sense of African hair being ugly or inferior. We see a similar sentiment in Yoruba proverbs. And the Mende described beautiful hair with the word potongo, which means it is much, abundant, plentiful. In reference to hair, the root word poto means long and thick. What contributed to the major shift in black hair? Slavery. During slavery, the hair of black people was compared to animals. It was claimed that the tightly coiled African hair was similar to the wool of an animal. That was a way to justify the inhumane exploitation of people. During slavery, a hierarchy emerged where there was a status attached to having more European features. Those with these features, including looser textured hair, while still denied access to basic human rights, sometimes had more opportunity.
Okay, are we listening?
This is a pattern that was apparent from the context of slavery through emancipation and even up until the present day. Slavery was abolished in 1865, but the stigma around black hair was not.
Very true, very true.
After slavery, chemical hair straightening products for black people gained popularity. It was seen as one of the few avenues that could provide financial empowerment to black women at a time when those opportunities were practically non-existent. It was seen as a way to elevate their status, so they were marketed with an emphasis on beauty, personal success, and the uplift of the entire race.
All right.
It led people to believe that their black hair wasn't beautiful the way it was. But a century after the abolition of slavery, black hair and the afro reigned supreme again. The civil rights movement and the Black Power movement became a motivating force that disrupted European beauty standards. Some black American men and women began to move away from the relaxers and embrace the natural coils and curls that grew from their heads.
Don't be ashamed of your heritage. Don't be ashamed of your color. Don't be ashamed of your hair. I am black and beautiful and not ashamed to say it.
This era of empowerment was glorified everywhere, from local streets to TV shows such as The Jeffersons and iconic figures such as Michael Jackson. Fast forward to today, and while black hair is still not widely accepted, it is being celebrated at events like Curlfest, in TV commercials, and it's even emerging on red carpets and runways. And then, in 2018, Black Panther was released. The release of the movie was monumental for many reasons. It was the first time a Hollywood production created an on-screen world populated almost entirely by women with type 4 hair. I embraced my natural hair as well. When I was pregnant with my first baby, I decided to shave my hair and go natural. I knew that if I had a daughter, it was crucial she did not grow up with the same warped concept of beauty that I did. So I'll leave with this. We need to reimagine the way we think about progress, about modernity, about success, about development, and about civilization.
Okay.
We need to think about the way we frame demands for inclusion and representation, and seriously rethink the way we attribute, or more often do not attribute, value to Indigenous knowledge systems. And yes, we need to reject many of the beauty standards we subscribe to, those that privilege lighter skin, thinner noses, or good hair. One of the easiest ways to demonstrate our nascent freedom? Wear our natural hair.
So California is officially the first state to ban racial discrimination based on natural hairstyle.
California became the first state to pass the Crown Act in 2019, aiming to ban race-based hair discrimination, and 6 other states followed suit.
The natural hair movement is more than hair. It is a lifestyle. It is learning to be comfortable in the skin that you're in.
Very nice. Okay, so that's from GMA. That's from GMA, just, you know, that's from their YouTube. So go there. I think it's a news network. This is me Googling very quickly. All right, so that's the quickest history of hair. Very good, very handy. And yeah, so the real topic of today's show is more so how to males and all that good stuff interact with females about this issue, you know, and do it. And one thing we're trying to do is get respectful dialogue going, because some people might not be aware there could be some impact in how we deliver stuff. I wanted to find a couple of videos that would demonstrate this, but I found some. I was looking for some UK ones, but I found an American school. You know, not to judge the children, the young having fun and all that kind of edgy stuff, but let's try to analyze how they speak and see if we can, like, you know, just, you know, try to use a case study and try to work on certain things. So quick, just 1 minute, we'll skip through it.
Oh,
rewind. All right, go for that lady. This is her page, I believe. So, you know, if you know who she is, super well. Sorry, Gabrielle, we're going to use your video as case study. Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be going around asking guys which do they prefer, girls' natural hair or weave, and why. Shannon, do you prefer natural hair or weave?
I'm gonna go and say natural hair.
Why you like
it? If it looks nice, if they've been taking care of it. If your natural hair don't look nice, do what's best for you and go and get the weave in. I will say this, I know this ain't an option. I hate wigs. Wigs are the devil in 2019. They be sitting up on y'all head ugly. They be sliding.
Let's pause there. Now, obviously, you know, new age comedy, that good stuff, and everyone likes a good joke. But I think as men, you know, young boys as well, you know, even though it's funny, humor, and the ladies laughing with the even the microphone, it's a phone. It's new age, and like trendy stuff. Yeah, you know, I think maybe we want to be more considerate when we, when we talk about hair and stuff. I think there's a history there. And in the show, I'll go through my strategy if I deal with it. But let's carry on. Just deal with advice.
It's a lot that comes with wigs. Just come on, man. Back to the sew-in days. I wish we could go, but yeah, I had to more secure. It's clearly secure.
But the closure sew-ins, they still be scooting back too, and people don't go get them tightened up.
I take a closure over a wig though, cause some of them wigs that's nowadays they be pushing it, dog. Like they need to let them go.
Or when they like fat on top, they braids ain't
Oh, bro, that's another thing. Let's pause. Let's take a 30-second time out.
Yeah. So the issue we have here, obviously, this is probably a normal way of talking, everyone together, that kind of stuff. But you know, we turn these conversations into like comedy kind of stuff, and not, you know, just fruitful with the edge of humor and that stuff. I think moving forward as a community, we want to take these conversations in a more dignified manner because of the history that we've just gone through, and understand the mindset and the freedoms that women have to do what they want and that kind of good stuff. But also there is going to be a transitional period of ease and making sure that women feel they have choice of what to do, what they want when they want, and let's see if we can contribute to that. But let's carry on.
If your braids big as crap under your wig and your hair sit up on top of your braids real ugly, cut it. Or if you can see like with that wig and you can see like the clear line,
the frontals,
whatever, you can see like the clear line and you can tell it's clearly not a part of your head, cut it, dog. But I say natural hair. I'm gonna definitely go to natural hair if it looks nice. But if not, you know what I'm saying, do what you can for yourself. Alright. Hey, oh yeah. Y'all follow me.
Let's skip that. He's trying to promote himself. This guy is more of a rapper, I believe. So we'll skip him. Let's go to these three gentlemen quickly. Let's see. Smiling went. Yeah. What? Yeah.
Rich, and Jaden. Jalen. All right, I'm gonna get it right. I always mess up his name. Okay, so do y'all prefer girls wear their natural hair or weave?
Natural hair.
Why you like the natural?
Because I feel like with the weave, they just be doing too much. Like, you can see, like, when they got the wigs on, like, that's not cute.
You can see the little closure and like.
Yeah, like, that's not cute at all. And then, like, they just be doing too much. Like, they be flexing with it like it's theirs. That's not.
Just like the natural.
Yeah, trying to swing it. It ain't gonna be there. You feel me? Nah, but I prefer natural though. I like everything natural. Like, I don't even like the makeup. Like, even if it's short, it don't matter as long as it's natural. That's cute. But yeah.
Now, if she ain't got no hair, like,
okay, that's different though.
What somebody else ain't got no hair?
Chill out.
Yeah, come on, man.
Like, she got an afro or something, like, oh, I ain't gonna call it no names, but like that little afro they be having, they got that shit. That's no, unless you got a fat ass.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, so you see, like, obviously, there might be some training to be had with the youth to how to, talk decently about sisters and stuff. Obviously, schoolyard, college yard, that kind of stuff, whatever. This is something we need to correct. But what you're seeing a consistent thing. I don't think the topic of hair is, I don't think the seriousness of what some women go through is expressed. And sometimes you get this. So anyway, that's that. Right. So what we're gonna do, there actually was a video I wanted to show, and I'm gonna try to be experimental now. And let me just hold on.
I'm gonna let you in on the
you get these adverts, right? And it's like you don't want to see these adverts. So skip that advert, thank you. So this is the wrong video. I think I found one here. So I found one video, just a quick thing. We'll just go quick case study. There we go. I'm gonna see if I can share it now. This move in real time. This is where the skill comes from. So share, and let's go. I'm going to jump back to that. So stop screen, share again. Excellent. This is good. Yep. Share. And then let's give the window. And let me know if you hear this. I'm going to share this screen. Hold on. Let's do this one. This is even better. And let me go share audio. This is a better technique. All right. I'm hoping you see that. Let's play this. Oh, it looks like it's working. Fantastic. Technology. All right, so a bit of context. So we can stop this. All right, so to be honest, with some of these videos, right, when you put them on, there's so many things you can pull from them that transcends the topic and might be a concern anyway. But there's obviously this man here, and this black brother has married a European lady, white lady, and they've obviously got a mixed black child. And I clicked on this because of what the title said, but it's more so attitudes and stuff, and we could go down, but what they're doing is they're trying to get this young lady ready for a beauty pageant. This is another topic we could cover, the necessity of beauty pageants for children, but let's not cover that now. And she's 7, so okay, let's play it.
To be a pageant.
What's now?
I'm Ann, and my 7-year-old daughter Torin is a wild child. She's very hard to control. No, Daddy! But on stage, she definitely knows how to take that wild personality and present it out to the judges. Torin loves pageants. She's done it since she was 4 months old, and I don't think Torin's ever walked away from a pageant without at least winning division queen. Jump where? No, you're not gonna jump yard yet. Torn is a very hyper kid. And she's gone. Lord have mercy. I mean, she's a sport kid. I mean, she's a good kid, but she's spoiled.
All right. So
Give me something to drink. You want something to drink? As long as she's very respectful to us, we're gonna give her whatever she wants.
Sure.
No. Oh, bossy head.
All right.
Contestant number 1 is Miss Lauren. How are you gonna smile? I started pageants with Lauren just for the fact that I did them growing up. There you go. I felt like it just kind of taught me to be a lady at such a young age. Don't put Tinkerbell on your dress, though, please. I know what it takes to go out there and to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Oh, my name is Prince and I'm funky. Torren's strengths for competition is definitely, outfitted choice. Oh, watch. Good. I think Torren definitely transformed into Prince. She definitely has got the biracial thing going for her.
I don't think Prince was biracial.
Like, I am Prince, and I'm funky.
My name is Prince. And it's funky.
Here, put it down. And you just brush it real quick. When I was pregnant, I definitely prayed for a little girl to, put her into pageants. But I also prayed for good hair. I think you're going to wear your 5 hair pieces for this weekend.
Let's reverse that. Let's reverse that.
Hair. I think you're going to her into pageants, but I also prayed for good hair.
All right.
I think you're going to wear your 5 hair pieces for this weekend.
Make a note of that.
Having a biracial baby, I was just like, oh, please let it be some hair that I can work with. You got to brush it all pretty, get all the knots out. We do use hair pieces for Torren.
I'm gonna like mine.
Just because her hair is
all
so
right.
thin and.
No, it goes on. I won't keep playing it, but it goes on to tanning and all this other kind of stuff. Whatever. Yo, Mike, check. So once again, this isn't stuff that I knew from the past and I wanted to put onto the video. This is stuff that I just Googled, on YouTube when it came up. This video uses the term "good hair," not as a form of look at what's actually happening. This woman's using this kind of language. This is just normal, and naturally, this young lady and anyone else in the family, this is the concept that they're going to grow up with, the concept of good hair and allegedly bad hair, and obviously praying to whatever religion this lady follows for her hair to be more, I guess, European-esque. I don't know. And this is the challenge. Just going to do something extremely random at the moment, right? I'm coming across a lot of these videos on YouTube. Now, obviously with YouTube, this is obviously professional production, and there's another video I came across, and it had to do with hair, but it was also to do with more mixed relationships, interracial relationships, and I don't know if this was made by some kind of unknown third person party, whatever it is and stuff, but this next video I'm about to show, it kind of sounded like if you ever play video games, right? And sometimes they try to make the video games more realistic, so they put shows in the video game, and it just it's obviously not a proper show. There's obviously something odd about it, but they're not going to invest too much on the show. But some of these stuff I hear, it sounds like that. Now let's see if I can share this one more video, just the first bit, because it's somewhat connected. So share, stop share, excellent. Wait, let me turn that one down. Share again. Video, nope, not video. Stop share. So yeah, so far so good, but we're getting there. Just press a few more buttons, and share screen. So far, give me the pop-ups. I love pop-ups. Break the flow. There we go. Everyone laughed. There we go. So this one's about mixed relationships. Do I press play? Let's press play. This is, you can see the guy's page going and have a listen. I asked my question down there. If you want to see, you can jump in and chime in. No one's got back to me yet, I don't think. But let's play this one.
Hello, friends. Interracial families are very often the targets of gossip and mockery by many people. But to the envy of everyone else, these couples live happy and cheerful lives and give birth to amazing children. There is also a widely held opinion that the children of these families are especially beautiful, as evidenced by many of the main characters in today's video entertainment.
So the thing is, some of these things have a very odd overtone, right? And like everyone should feel beautiful and the good stuff. But the way things are presented, it becomes very airy Indiana. If you remember that kind of show, before many times, I don't know. But let's have this. I don't know. I'm trying to put my finger on it. Maybe you guys can maybe help me. But it just seems a bit odd, this kind of way of doing documentaries and this kind of topic matter. But anyway, I mean, for all I know, this stuff was shot in some country that has no government. I don't know. It's odd. But anyway.
Mixed couples are fairly common nowadays, but despite that fact, the protagonist of today's story experienced ridicule and criticism from others at the beginning of their relationship. Jamie and Nikki met on a dating site 9 years ago. The Australian man fell in love with a lovely mulatto model who was working in New York.
Okay, let's stop there. He's referred to this lady as a mulatto. First of all, mulatto historically is a very problematic word, very problematic. And it's not for me to judge a person's past or break it down. But this woman does not look like she is of any kind of. This woman looks very essence, epitome, standard Aboriginal blue-black woman. But maybe I'm mistaken. But let's carry on listening. So whatever.
2 years later, he recorded himself proposing to his sweetheart in Federation Square in Melbourne. The young man never imagined that his video would go viral. Almost 5 million people watched it in the span of a week. Most of the comments reflected people's admiration of the touching love story. However, there were many critics who began condemning their relationship because of the girl's skin color. But despite all the negativity, the couple didn't let it bother them, and they decided to show the world that love can overcome any obstacle. Other people's judgments were no reason to end their relationship. Their magnificent wedding took place several years ago. Naturally, the newlyweds again posted a video of the ceremony online, where it was very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Numerous guests wished them to have children as soon as possible, and the newlyweds promised
odd, very odd behavior, very odd writing.
When the couple were first expecting their first child, interest in them increased.
It's just weird.
Everyone wanted to see the first fruits of Nikki and Jamie's love.
It's just normal, guys.
Before long, the couple finally welcomed their first child, a girl, into the world. She seemed to have inherited the best features of her parents. The girl just looked adorable in photos. She wasn't as dark-skinned as her mother, but had a much sought-after bronze hue that many girls like today.
That's just odd. I mean, that is very. So far, this narrator, once again, it's almost like it's some kind of Twilight Zone writing script. I don't know, and obviously the colorism and the overtones is odd, and it's kind of like treating children as though they're like breeding cats and dogs. I don't know. It's just me, maybe I read too much into things, and maybe I'm actually correct, and we need to sort this out. But anyway, listen, carry on.
After the birth of their second child, the happy lovers and their children became true internet stars. As is commonly known, exactly who the adorable babies of such unions will take after is difficult to predict. The Perkins daughters were adorable mulattoes who had inherited beautiful facial features from both parents, and they captivated internet users with their charm. Nikki, a dedicated mother, was also a popular blogger with 1 million subscribers who followed her life. She would upload beautiful pictures on Instagram and cute family videos on YouTube. Jamie was a professional photographer, whose fans nicknamed the spouses Coffee and Milk.
I mean, there's something. Maybe I'm just living in this world and I'm the only one who seems to pick up on some of this behavior pattern. But what? Okay.
Photos of the beautiful family were simply stunning, so it's no wonder that everyone was enamored with them. The petite young woman and respectable young man looked great together. The spouses with different skin colors looked very happy. However, at one point, their channel stopped updating, which worried their most loyal followers. Unfortunately, the fans' fears were confirmed. Jamie and Nikki had gone through a family crisis, and they had separated as a result. Jamie and Nikki, not wanting to air their dirty laundry in public, maintained privacy regarding the reason for the divorce. People are desperate to know what became of the couple's interracial love, a fact which seems to have aggravated an already sad situation. But many subscribers suspect that Jamie and Nikki will choose not to abandon their audience and will continue blogging in the future. By the way, money could have also proved to be an indirect incentive, as their joint channel brought the spouses about $200,000 a year. Today, the couple is popular, in demand, and wealthy, but alas, not together. But such is life. None of us are immune to such turns of fate. But despite all of this, Jamie and Nikki Perkins were able to prove to the whole world that true love really can overcome any obstacle, regardless of age.
Well, they're not together anymore, so I don't. So I don't know what's going on here. I mean, but once again, this might be an independent student making a documentary using a kind of automation, audio narrator. I don't even know, but it's very peculiar. And and what I'm saying is the reason I'm showing is because all this kind of like interracial, good hair, best features, people who might be. Who are from South Sudan being identified as mulatto. I mean, it's just a lot of like, it's like, I'm looking to reform all this. If I'm being honest, like this behavior, I don't know who's in control of this behavior, but I don't think it's necessary for Black people to really and obviously you can't control Black people. Hence why the lifestyle of Black Betterment, we need to kind of have a rule set that works in Black people's best interest, and this kind of stuff really does not work in Black people's best interest. I think I left a comment in this group. I didn't know what I said, what is the ethnic group of the narrator and the writers of the narration? If you are new to history or anti-Black racism, you might not understand how the overtone of this video is very problematic towards Black people and children with a Black parent. So it's very, very odd. But then once again, this might be a student from a country that's gone through war and they're disconnected from humanity, and they've made a documentary, and it's almost like the Attack of the Body Snatchers, that kind of vibe. Like it's just very, very peculiar, very video game within a video game. So let me say no more. So anyway, so now we're going to go back to, if I click on this, where's that? I'll have to add it again. So stop that. Voila. Click on the share screen. Yeah. Where we go? We've got 17 more clicks. Let's click on there, and magic. There you go. So. There you go, family. Let me make this screen a bit more bigger. We always try to start the show with some videos, get everyone jumping in. I always start by saying thank you for the community, especially Black people who want to help Black people. You're very important. Without you, we will follow what people predict, and those kind of documentaries will have a massive impact, and people will just be automatically subservient and anti-Black without even knowing. So, people like us are going to try to keep people in the right lane to make sure Black people are doing things within Black people's best interests. So when you do things within Black people's best interests, everything comes from within the community, not outside the community. But let's move on. Okay, so we're gonna move on to something else right now. And as you know, people make memes, and this I was pushed forward to a meme that was shared to me. I wanted to talk about it. This is hair. Now you might have seen other memes of a similar nature. And obviously, when we put out the links, if anyone's seen this, they can bring their perspective. But this is one meme. It could be a years old. It could be very brand new. But it says, for you can't see, it's a picture of a chimpanzee, I believe. And it says, a lot of y'all buy them bundles. I'm assuming that's kind of hair product lingo. I don't really buy hair, so I wouldn't know that kind of stuff. And still look like this after you'll get them installed. So I assume what they're saying is, you go and buy, this is probably the desired kind of hair, expensive, I'm assuming, right? And then even though when you put them on, it doesn't, change your facial features, whatever. Now, this has been shared by Black people, maybe Black women, Black men as well and stuff. And this kind of stuff is problematic. Now, this is probably a joke and humor, but obviously this kind of like, history of comparing Black people to chimpanzees and apes is very problematic. This joke is very insensitive to women who take pride in their hair, and also, as you saw the original videos, there's a history of women, and originally women had more natural choices. Then through interaction with Europeans, a new option became available out of necessity, and these kinds of things, whatever. So this kind of stuff is very counterproductive, and it's something we definitely want to eradicate from the community. And so what I'm doing is, just like a few weeks ago, I gave some examples on how templated ways of how to present humans and people's preference choices, I should say, right, within the black community. Let's see if we can do similar for the hair. So let's just go through that. So next thing. So this is the private preferences. So on the left hand of your screen, for those you can't see, we have what some people might think. And on the right side of the screen is what they should say. So when it comes to black betterment, I'm definitely recommending, some of us might be trained in a way to be anti-black and we won't know it. And this comes from people looking at black people and black people looking at themselves. Matter of fact, I would go as far to say almost every black person in this world, unless they have been trained by a algorithm-trained spiritual computer, will display some anti-black sentiments, and they might not know it. You know, it takes time to learn it, and it takes time to know you're doing it, and then you have to have a codified way to reverse it. And there's many techniques, and hopefully your brother at Ruby can show some of the ones that I practice and I push out to the community, right? So the thought process on the first panel says, okay, I think black women look like they are trying to copy white women when they wear weaves. Yeah, so this is, maybe someone thinks this. This is not like a quote. This is say if someone felt this, even though they might think this, whether they're right or wrong. Here's what they should say when it comes to the question, or what I recommend the template. Black women are beautiful no matter their hairstyling. However, I realize it's more challenging in society to have natural hairstyling, so I support this choice for black betterment purposes. Very long speech. There's probably ways to compress it, but generally that kind of feel is a nice codified way to put out into the universe, yeah, on a consistent nature, yeah, to just give the ease and try to downplay this anxiety challenge that many people go through. Next is I prefer women with good hair. Another problematic stuff. We saw a video where the European lady, the white lady, had a black husband, and naturally something, she naturally has been trained in white supremacy, and white supremacy tells people that European features are superior to black features. So naturally, the labeling good hair means closer to Europeanness, and obviously some black people are going to perpetuate that and absorb that. And this is definitely a no-no form of language that we want to eradicate within the black community. We can't really control the white community. That's why you have to be very, very careful who you marry. I recommend constructive black men marry constructive black women. But once again, I don't know the individual stories that people go through, because what will happen is you probably find a black man who said, and let me quote, I was on the beach on the island, and there was 100 black women. And I went to them saying, I love you, black woman, you're a queen. And they threw coconuts at my head, and I was bleeding, and I fell on the floor bleeding. They laughed as I was bleeding. And then the sun came out. And then as the clouds parted, a hazy white figure came down and landed on the beach. And then this white lady had all the medical skills to heal my wounds and this kind of stuff. And, I had no choice but to marry her. And this is probably true. And it's not for me to speak in this stuff. If that's the truth, so be it. But as a template, I would say constructive black man with constructive black woman is one of the best ways to have a constructive community, and that's what black betterment promotes. And hopefully the idea is the more we start spreading out this stuff, the more we can make black people more appealing to each other. Because once again, family, the issue is when you have been psychologically trained to hate yourself without knowing it, your judgments can then be contaminated. Meaning you think you have a preference in something, but that's already been taken, flipped upside down and fed to you. And that's why doing things that's in your own best interest is necessary. And that comes to selling your culture to yourself, styling yourself that's most easier to you, and using everything, your own standards of beauty. Blah, blah, blah. Good stuff. So let's carry on moving on. Next thing is I like natural hairstyles. Or once again, that's actually a nice thing to say, you like natural hairstyles. But some people, there are some women out there who, through whatever reason, are very comfortable with weaves. It could be positive reason, negative reason. We don't know. Nothing wrong or right with weaves, because as we all know, as we shall read, black women are beautiful no matter their hairstyling. However, I realize it's more challenging in society to have natural hairstyling. So I support this choice for black betterment purposes. So that's something you could say. Make it work in your own language. Voila, voila, voila. What else? I like women with long hair. Same thing, the same quote I said before. Carry on. I like women with long. Oh, I said it twice. I don't know why it's there. Repeat. Glitch in the matrix. Ignore that one. No matter what hairstyles black women have, they never look attractive. So let's just say you have some black men, out there who's been conditioned to never find black women attractive, which goes on. And unfortunately, not only does it go on, some of these black men have been programmed to not only not like black women, but to let the world know they don't like black women. So, these people have been corrupted in certain kind of ways. And, we always offer them a way out of that, but sometimes they might be too far gone, so they might have to just be left alone and ignored. But if they do think this way and they wish to return back to black Betterment, as in like they want to contribute to helping women who like their mothers, their sisters, and them had they been female, then we can give them a template. And that template is as follows. Black women are beautiful no matter their hairstyling. However, I realize it's more challenging in society to have natural hairstyling, so I support this choice for black Betterment purposes. Very long, but very important. So once again, I hope you can see a consistent theme of how black men should refer to black hair. We must not forget, brothers and sisters, family, that unfortunately black people are collectively inadequate. So some things I say will come across as extremely crazy and even mad. However, it's necessary. And that's why I should always give you side analogies. So when it comes to black men talking to black women, and vice versa in some regards, a lot of people will say things like love has no color, which you hear a lot. And then in regards to hair textures and styles and that, people have their preference. I prefer this, so they'll say that, well, a lot of black women, they emulate European styles, so why not go to the source? Very interesting quotes, whatever it is. But these kinds of funny stuff. And I say this, right? Let's just say that in your mind you're already being compromised when you, for some reason, you don't find black women attractive. Most unfortunate that you've gone through that experience. But I would say treat that scenario like having 3 children. And I would like to think that with your 3 children, you don't wake up and go to the middle or the first or the last one and say, you know what, yeah, you are my favorite, and your other brothers and sisters, they're my least favorite. I do not like them at all. You are the person who I like the most, and they're never gonna be able to touch you with any kind of cuteness or any kind of achievements or whatever it might be, right? What I would assume people do with their children is they make them all free. Well, that make them all free, feel loved and needed, and they understand it's a team and they're all in it together. And I feel that when it comes to community betterment, that's how you want all black women to feel, right? We want them to feel that within our community, they always have the support, and we support them on their choices. And we're trying to create the industries where they can feel comfortable to wear whatever hair they like. So if you're a woman and you wish to wear weave, wear weave. If you're a woman and you wish to be natural, be natural. Now, like I said, there's certain scenarios where being natural, whatever that means, is easier, So it might be that you might be a swimmer and having your hair, in a certain kind of style is easy to do that. Who knows? Whatever, right? So the idea is to make life easier for the sisters. And as you see, in the 70s, where the whole Black Power thing went, when black people started taking control and doing their own kind of styling, other groups then tried to emulate, because that's how black people are. Black people usually lead the trend in fashion and style. The other thing is black people don't lead the trend in owning things, you see. Black people have been trained to be subservient and also always seeking stuff. And through that, you give away your power. And through that, that's why you have these conversations saying, oh, when I'm going for work, I have to have my hair in a certain kind of way, because if it wasn't a certain kind of way, I won't get the job. So already, as black men failing to create institutions for the community, we have to go to other communities, and our women are at the mercy of other people's beauty standards. And like I said, it's very difficult for a black woman to out white woman or white woman. But the truth is, why would you want to? Because you're a black woman and naturally you have all the goods already. So why are you doing that? But it doesn't matter. So let's have a sneak peek on a boutique at some of the messages, because I've been talking way. Big up to Coco Brownie there. Black Australians' hair is naturally straight. They are cool gorillas, but black African and white folks. Yes. Okay. Well, yes. And one of the things with the world of black people, historical Negro people, and all those other words that's been used all around the world, and this goes in Africa and out of Africa, but we can focus in Africa with the what has been described as sub-Saharan African people, the traditional black people. You'll find many dynamics of different ratios there anyway. So you'll find straight hair, coiled hair, tight hair, low hair, high hair. You'll find the heights. You'll find body shapes, slim, big, all over. And so, because obviously, as you know, Africa is like the birthplace of humanity. So you're going to find pretty much all the traits there. Yeah, unfortunately, because of the transatlantic slave trade, as Emma was describing in the first videos, and being very close proximity to people of European descent, the traditional people who were taken to the Americas on the ships and stuff, most of them, their hair was of what you call Afro textured, Afro curl, and they were interacting with people who had more straw kind of base style, whatever, and that was what was pushed onto many of the black people, and then as you saw, the industry came about by black people emulating and stuff. But once again, the emphasis, no matter whatever black hair choices black people have, black women are always going to look beautiful, and I think it's up to us as men to really push that out and to make black women feel comfortable to have any choice they want, but also highlight that whenever you want to try something natural, I support you, because I understand that that's easiest to you, and we can have a better industry there. Let's see more question, blah blah. This debate on black women here is just sexually dominated by black men who have relationships with white women and kids. There you go. So once again, you do have a compromised position where you have, and I think I mentioned earlier, you have black men who have obviously been completely compromised in psychologically some way, and then for some reason they feel it's necessary to undermine black women, and obviously this is obviously a self-hate issue, whatever, and they bring up hair context and stuff. So this is something that needs to be worked on. And once again, I know it sounds very challenging, and but as a community, we need to kind of elect who best to speak about us publicly, and it might sound very, 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 very harsh, but you have to have receipts in the sense of people who identify as black bearers and this kind of community should kind of be the authority on the black agenda and black betterment, because they hopefully are living consistently with a concept of looking inwards for a solution and doing things that's in black people's best interest. And if a person is not with a black woman and also going on public platforms belittling black women, then just by definition they lose authority and their words shouldn't be taken too serious. And hopefully one of my jobs when I start going interactive with other platforms is to display this rank system and saying that unfortunately you haven't got enough rank to speak publicly because you haven't earned the credit to be taken serious, because you're not consistent in your betterment points when it comes to black people and that kind of stuff. So that's something that we want to push out there. What am I looking for? Hold on. Where's that fantastic link? Now, ladies and gentlemen, by all means, everyone's welcome to jump in. Maybe you have a story about black hair you'd like to share. Maybe you disagree with some things that were said or not said. Feel free to jump in. You have the time. What's your experiences? You saw the unfortunate meme that's been shared that we need to eradicate from the community. At least make sure that no black people is promoting this. What was your view on some of the videos? I mean, some of them seem a bit very Arian-y, very odd. And I don't know if we should talk about some of them, but because I don't know, who I don't know who was actually creating them. If it was a student side, so I don't know. But I suspect, as you all know, you go out there, many of the things shown in some of these videos are consistent in all over the internet. So we're starting from level 1 again, and level 1 is black men should only talk favorable about black women, especially when it comes to hair. That just seems that I push that forward as a codified behavior. So sisters and brothers, I've placed the wrong link in the group again because I've placed the show link. So 1,000 forgivenesses. Sorry, I've got so many windows open that but I've now pushed the good one. Thank you, Sister Brownie. That's Sister May. Thank you for letting me know that the link was incorrect. I've posted the correct one in now. Let me just write that lobby link. All right, there you go, lobby link. So if anyone wants you to jump in, by all means, we can have a discussion, very constructive. Remember, we want to use the 5D values. And what are those I hear you say? Let's have a look. So when we communicate, no matter how upset or happy we might get, let's try to have discipline, dedication, discernment, dignity. And let's try not to use colorless language if possible. Very important. I know it's hard at times, but trust me, in the short run, it's better. All right, cool. We have a fantastic guest. Welcome, Sister Betty. How's it going?
Hi, Raven. I'm all right. Blessings.
Excellent.
I think this is a really good topic, but this, I'm going to talk about experience that I had. I remember an African guy, very dark skin, yeah. And I had a phenotype like the native Australians, except that his hair was afro, tight, very tight. And I remember him saying that he thought that their women were ugly and he had never seen an attractive one. Yeah. Now, this guy is known for having kids with, lots of different women and from different races. But it was weird how he had locks, and it's weird how he did not see the similarity in himself, because the only difference was that if you took the curly hair away from him and put on straight hair, he had a very similar phenotype. And, you know what I mean? And I've seen when people say this debate is about black women wearing hair that doesn't actually grow out of their head, I found it's not the truth, because I've seen native Australians being mocked and called gorillas and monkeys, and their hair is naturally straight and wavy.
Yes.
So it seems to be more about, I think, for many black men, it's about wanting to dominate black women the way white men dominate white women. Also, the black men because I used to have a black history teacher, and he would speak the most blackness, but he had mixed race children, and his ex-wife was a white woman. And it was weird how you can talk all this Marcus Garvey and stuff like that, but he didn't feel either way about telling black women who to be with. Then I had a mixed race black history teacher that was half Nigerian, half white, and he was another one that liked to do that, but was mistreating women. But obviously, I was a teenager at the time. It was only as I got older did I understand it. But there are many black men and mixed black people that they talk black, but they're going to sleep white. They talk about what they have no intention of living up to, and it seems more about control and controlling how much black women spend on their hair. Because like wigs, and then all this business of mocking black women wearing wigs go back thousands and thousands of years. They found human hair wigs in ancient Egypt. Yeah, this is not something that white folk come and brought. This has been going. The ancient Egyptians used to wear wigs, and these so-called pro-black people, they venerate these ancient Egyptians. But to this day, can't tell me why men and women in ancient Egypt were wearing wigs.
I hear that. Very good perspective, Sister Betty. Now, as we're joined by Brother Kel. Brother Kel, welcome. How's it going, Brother Kel?
I'm all right, Brother Raven. How you doing, Sister Betty? Greetings, stuff right. Sister Betty is absolutely right. In the ancient Egyptian times, they did used to wear the wig, and it had to do with and the black woman needs to learn this as well, is that every couple of months or years, to remove the load of presence of spirits, that they used to shave off their hair, and they used to wear the wig, and the wig was a way to protect insects from laying eggs in their hair. So she's absolutely right. They did used to wear the wigs. The only thing now is that the wigs is more to emulate the Europeans, and we've got to try and remove that. So yeah, she's definitely right. She's 100% right on that.
Interesting. Yeah, very good points there. Well, it's Sister Bay was highlighting that within some men there's a self-hatred that they might be aware of, they might not be aware of, I don't know. And I think one of the things I'm trying to highlight here is that self-hatred. And try to let black men know that that's what's going on. Just before you guys say anything, we have Empress Christy. Welcome, Ephraim Christy. Welcome to the discussion. If your mic is there, just let us know whenever you're ready. Jump in.
Greetings.
Greetings. Yes. So, do you have any perspective on anything you've seen thus far, Sister Christy?
I agree with a lot of what
Sister Betty was saying. I just think it's when you hear the rhetoric coming from black men, because it only seems to really come from black men that we're hearing this. I've not really heard, even from the outside race, anyone talking about black hair as much. It just kind of just reflects into their own self-hate.
Yes.
Because that's what it seems like, especially in regards to the pic that you showed.
Yes.
So far, I definitely do agree. I was going to mention that what Sister Betty said in regards to the ancient Egyptians. So this concept of hairstyling and innovation and styles of hair is something that we've always done. It's got nothing to do with self-hate. It's more of the fact that we are quite, artistic and we change up styles and vibes, and we've always been like that. As you showed in the documentary before, it's just quite a new concept, and we know who brought on that concept in regards into our hair. So when people talk a certain way, they should remember whose tongue it first come out of when they're talking, especially when they try to say that they're pro-black. Because if you knew the originator of who spoke the words that you're talking, it doesn't correlate.
No. Very good point, sister. And this is the thing. I think it's unfortunate I have to say this, but recognizing that in these current days, black people are kind of like a fallen people, and sometimes we have like great marketing and other people speak on our behalf to give us the illusion that black people are really adequate in the way they behave. But like I said, there was a time where non-black people had to really harm black people, right, openly. But that time is now past, and those behavior patterns have been learned by many people in the community, and they're in certain places of power or certain places of influence, and they're perpetuating this. And it becomes somewhat culturalized, where people feel very comfortable to be self-destruction and undermining and this kind of stuff. And you saw a lot of it in shows and certain kind of comedy shows and stuff where you make yourself the butt of the joke, but you are always the butt of the joke. So it's very problematic. But that's the idea of these kinds of shows we have. We want to have a community code collaboration, where we come together and we decide the best way we should collectively speak about a topic that works in black people's best interest and push it as a collective, very consistent. So that's why I do these shows, so we can all pick each other's brain and find out how should we be operating that's in the best interest of black people. So there's a question to the three guests on the panel. After seeing some of the behavioral patterns, what would you say would be a good thing to help educate people or to have people do that might make this kind of outcome better for black people? Anyone want to jump in, by all means?
Can I say what I would like to see is black men to realize that black women are grown. You don't have a right to control how a black woman wears her hair, because there's not a movement from black women to tell black men how to wear their hair. And even when you look at ancient Egypt, wigs and hair extensions were worn by men as well. It wasn't this idea that it was just worn by women, but it's amazing that these black men that preach natural is best always seem to forget this. Even to this day, you can still see Maasai warrior men in Kenya, hair braiding and putting hair extensions in, and they're the baddest black men in Africa, as obviously they're Maasai warriors. Do you know what I mean? So it's very convenient how many black men don't bother to look at the history of hairstyling and how it was done in Africa before they start preaching. But another thing is the mixed race men that, who, like people like Obama, that define themselves as black and just black. Yeah. And when I just remember my mixed race teacher telling me about, black women that want to wear their hair straight and wear relaxers, they want to emulate white women. But it's funny how it's coming from someone that's actually half white. And what that told me is that he's uncomfortable with himself. Because how are you going to teach me as a teenager how not to be comfortable with myself as a black person and tell me not to emulate white people when you're actually half white? And Yeah, so it's interesting how he feels like I should just ignore his whiteness. And he feels like he can come and disrespect me as a black person. Where the question to me is that if you're worried about black people emulating white people, you should ask your black father that procreated with a white woman, instead of feeling that you as a mixed race person can come and disrespect a black person who is not mixed. No white people created me, and you just feel. And that guy then went on to have relationships with a black woman and a mixed race woman, and was cheating on both of them and treated them appallingly because his white mother would refuse to say that she slept with a black man. She was one of those white women that would sleep with a black man and was ashamed of it.
Right.
And this is what I'm saying, that there's, when you're mixed race, like me, I don't want to hear you from mixed race people about how to be black. I don't want to hear anybody telling me about you emulating white people when you're half white yourself. Without a white person, especially when your mother's white and she's done 9 months carrying you, and then you're coming to tell me about how to be black when you're not even, you can't even go over 50%. It's ironic, really. And it tells me how they feel about themselves. But it's amazing how many mixed race men feel like they can do this with black women. But what I've noticed, when white women are wearing hair extensions and wigs, getting perms, like on a regular basis, I perm white women's hair. The debate of how them being white, they're never told that they're emulating black women because they want their hair curly. They just do it for style. When Joan Collins wears a wig as a white woman, all the way up into, she's back in her 80s now, she's never told she's trying to emulate, even if the wig she's wearing is not her natural texture. It's never, white women are never told that. It just seems to be an attack on black women. And the black men that braid their hair and wear hair extensions and wigs and stuff like that, the black men, they always forget that bit. When you get the, the Malcolm X conch where they used to, and the James Brown when they used to straighten the hair, they never say anything about that. It's always about black women.
Right.
And what I've those black men that say that, would you like black women to start a whole movement about how you should wear your hair? And someone like Chris Rock, that stupid comedian that made that whole thing about hair, and then he went in that Chinese shop and went, oh, the Korean shop, and went, oh, does anyone want this black hair, this Afro hair? And he's like, and they went, no, black women don't want to buy that, and that's just an absolute lie. Because to this day, they process Asian hair to look like the tightest Afro hair. Yeah. So it's men like that try and distort what's going on just for comedic value, so we can sell some videos, and disrespect the very people that he claims that he's trying to uplift.
Very true. Well, this is a very passionate topic, family, and like I said, it's definitely, we want to hear the respect from women. We want to hear what you feel, and like we said, in anything to do with women's hair, the leaders will be the women themselves, as we know. In regards to, thank you for the answer, Sister Bay. In regards to the other two guests, the question was, if there's something that you would want the community to start doing less of or more of, or ways to bridge the gap or to find solutions, what would you want black people to do to improve this interaction? Brother Kel or Empress Kushti, any ideas that you want to push forward, potentially?
I would. One sister.
Okay, thanks, brother. I'd like to say, number one, I just find it so strange that it's, I know I've said this before, but I just find it so strange that it's black men talking negatively about black women's hair. I just think that on its own, I just think if you are within the conscious movement or the Pan-African movement, there's so much other things as a black man you should be focusing on rather than the hair. I feel that there's nothing wrong with promoting the natural hair that comes out of a black woman. I'm for it. I love my crown, but I'm not for disrespecting or men who, I don't even expect men to understand the ins and outs of a black woman's hair, because it's so complex to even really go in that as hard as they go in. Because let's be honest, it's not black women really dissing other black women about their hair at this current moment. It's not even white people, it's black men. I'm not going to sit there and tell a black man how to do his facial hair, whether he has a beard, a mustache, if he designs it, if he grows it out long, or whatever connotations that come with the hair. I'm not gonna sit down and have a whole debate about it and then start ridiculing a black man about the hair that comes out of his head. I also think that when we just from the videos that you've shown as well, there's a lot of other things that come into it. It's not just hair. It's almost like what they call like colorism, but then they say there's featureism. I think there's something to do with texturism there as well, because you notice that when they said that they liked it natural, then they said, oh well, I don't want it like a fro. So then what do you want it as then? So you want it loose and wavy, or is it the kind of texture that might not necessarily come from a black woman, or maybe come from a woman who's more ambiguous? But yet you're talking about a black woman and a natural hair. So this is why I say it reeks of self-hate. And I feel that next to the skin color, the hair of a black person is a big identifier that you're from the motherland, if that makes sense. No one really has hair like us. So once you attack that, you're effectively on the same level as attacking their skin color and things like that. So what I would like to see in regards to the communication is speak more about the positive than the negative. So if you're a black man, praise a woman when you see her with natural hair, especially if you see her for what they quote unquote call 4C, which is a very tight, kinky, curly hair texture. Praise it when you see it. Why not have more images of a black man with a black woman with that type of texture hair? Do positive promotion in regards to it instead of the negativity that you're talking about. I mean, how can you as a black man talk about I don't want a girl with a fro? All girls and boys initially, when their hair grows, it grows as a fro. Like, this is why I'm saying the self-hate is just it's so obvious. And like you said about the undertone of the other video, the undertone, if they really need to start watching how they speak. But I think in regards to moving forward, I feel like let women's hair be women's business, and the majority majority, let's just go for black women. Let this the vanguards of black hair and the intricacy, the deepness of it, let it go to the black woman to talk about and be the leader of and discuss. If the black man are saying the topic, it should be just solely positive in regards to, you know, highlighting what they like of the natural hair, positive images of women with black natural hair, and not just one type of natural hair. It should be the prominent, like what you were saying before when we had another topic. It should be what the majority prominent, typical black girls' natural hair should be. And you should see images of it, and you should be marrying and dating it, and you should just be highlighting it. But that's where it kind of just stops for me when it comes to black men and hair and women and their hair, because I think there's so much more that you should be focusing on than a woman's hair. I feel that, again, this is what I mean about how deep it goes into, because some women, especially in the climate that we're living in now in Europe, if you actually generally do love your hair and it's snowing and it's 0 degrees, you're not actually looking after your hair, leaving it out to the elements. That's actually, you're not actually looking after your hair. So there are some hairstyles that are protective hairstyles, and they actually genuinely look after your hair. So when it's summertime or when it's a bit of a more welcoming weather for your hair, you can rock your fro, and it's a healthy fro, and it's luxurious and thick. So this is what I mean. If you don't know the intricacies of the hair, just be quiet and just focus on the positive aspect of it and leave it as that. Especially if you're for the black woman. Ridiculing the black woman makes no sense to me. And watch how you talk about the hair, because you might just be showing some forms of self-hate when you're talking about you like the loose kind of Becky type features, or something that might be coming from someone with mixed heritage. Again, you're doing more harm than good.
More harm. Yeah. Thanks, sister. Excellent point there. Very necessary, very important. And Brother Kel, jump in just 4 seconds. Well, like I said, one of the codes that I'm pushing forward is to almost, definitely publicly, make it impossible for black men to disrespect black women. I think like with many black interactions, I mean, it's quite far-reaching, but many black people culturalize insults and culturalize, undermining and these kinds of behaviors. So we need to have a code where, in public, especially, you cannot undermine black people. You just can't do it. It's just it has to be a code. And like I said, some people might not be aware that they have a supreme level of self-hatred. They might not even put two and two together. So one of my jobs when I talk in public is to connect the dots to people, to show them that they've been compromised and that they're collectively inadequate and that they're undermining progress because they don't know anything. But once again, all this was programmed from the beginning, and people who hated black people the most put this path, and naturally now black people execute on their own. But Brother Kel, you have your say. So what would you have to say, Brother Kel?
Yeah, I was going to say that the Honorable Marcus Garvey, he says that the white man has succeeded in subduing the world into forcing it to think his way. And he's made him a master of propaganda. And those who are contact with his propaganda and accept it become his slave. And he says that the unrelated propaganda affects the black mind. Very interesting because it's political science again.
Yes.
I would say that the black woman, the African woman, cannot afford to seek knowledge and approval from unsynchronizing black men. She needs to understand the scientific of her hair, that the scientific of the hair, according to ancient African scriptures, that her hair typifies the antennas of the universe, right? And its frequency enhances and releases knowledge. This is why her hair was modeled on the TV antenna, the satellite dish, etc. It's not so much to do with fancy hairstyles. It's more to do with the enlightenment that the Creator gave her. And she must understand that. And she must also understand, number two, that we're living in a very superficial society. And the method of white supremacy, it's always shaking every single day. So her greatest power and weapon is that originality will always defeat fakeness all the time, right? So what the black woman needs to do is, first of all, she needs to get knowledge on why her hair is scientific that way. Not so much the style, because I think the style will prevent her from understanding the political science of using it as a weapon. She needs to understand how to weaponize it and also use it effectively to market it for her agenda. She will win this case because, as I said, everybody since the beginning of time wants to emanate her hair. The European, you mentioned there was an ancestor by the name of Garrett Morgan who invented the relaxer, but he also invented the traffic light as well as the refrigerator. However, he also invented another thing called the mousse, and the mousse was to help Europeans to thicken their hair, because the thicker the hair enhances the frequency of knowledge. So the African woman needs to understand that her greatest weapon is her originality. She needs to perfect that, market it, and she must never, ever, ever, ever seek the approval of un-Pan-Africanized, unsynchronized black men. That's one of the worstest things you can ever do.
Good, nice to say that. And one thing we have to say is when it comes to betterment, if someone is saying things that is harmful and unconstructive, then we have to question, is that betterment? So we want to be betterment seeking, and we want to be inwards for our solution. So some people might present themselves as constructive, but in fact they themselves are very damaged, and they see this. So this is most challenging. But yeah, anything else anyone wants to add? Anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to also
know as well, it's just the hypocrisy of it. Like to hear men that you got your 1 inch of hair, even if it's not even 1 inch, some of them have only got skin fade, like a centimetre of the hair. Come and tell a black woman with 10 inches of hair how the hell she's going to style her hair. And it's a hypocrisy because you don't have hair. You don't have to worry about shampoo, conditioner, because some of these black men, they don't even have hair. They don't know the daily struggle, like Kushti said. Like if you left your afro out constant, especially if your hair is of the type variety, you got in this cold climate, you're going to see how quickly your hair is going to break. Yeah. And then knot up. But it's amazing. These men that don't actually try and maintain that amount of hair then feel like they can even come and talk. It's just an insult. And like Kushti said, to me, it's like a lot of it's about control as well, but it's also very feminine as well, because the fact of the matter is that hair is a rites of passage for a young girl anyway. You know, and men do not train girls how to be a woman. It is a woman that will bring a girl into womanhood, as a man brings a boy into manhood. But now you got these bare little mummy's boys, these self-hitting boys that you want to cross over and pretend like you can train a girl into womanhood when you can't. You've got your role. It's called the boys.
So what we're learning here, guys, is, and you know, started right, that you know there are things that are for women and things that are for men. But as we have said, and this is a very good game that's been given, you know, at some point a woman is gonna enjoy a particular style a man has, and at some point a man is gonna enjoy a particular style a woman has. If there is a man who does have a preference, now we said that people's preference could actually be shrouded in some kind of, you know, misdirected education, as Brother Kel was saying, that they might be unsynchronized. If just say you you present yourself with 10 different styles in the month, and of those 10 different styles, your partner likes one of them, how should they approach you and let you know this, just from your own mouths, women, if at all? What would you say about that? How would you go about doing that?
I don't think, for me, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just like if you had if your partner likes you in a certain outfit, like this particular dress, or he thinks that your skin tone looks lovely in this certain color, it's the same as your partner saying that, okay, I really love that. Oh, I love your hair like that, or you just done your hair, I love it like that, or you know, it's like what I said in the beginning. You use compliments. You know, when you like something or you see the woman like that, then you highlight that and you praise it, and she'll get the hint. But the negative bashing is just, you're just going the wrong way about it, because and I do agree with what Brother Cal said in regards to and I actually am of the thought of that I pay no mind to unsynchronized black men, especially when they're talking about hair, because as I've said, and as Betty says, they just have no clue what they're talking about. But in regards to, you know, you see something or you like something, or you've got a friend or a partner, praising it and highlighting it, or just saying, oh, I love that. I love that dress, or I love your hairstyle like that, or it just, you know, that's the one for me. That's enough. Praising is more powerful than just putting a woman down. You don't know what stage of her hair journey that she could be at. She could be just starting to get to know herself, starting to transition, and seeing the meme, like that picture that you showed, could just totally knock her confidence. You don't know what a woman is doing from one day to another day with her hair. If you see her one day and she's got a wig or a protective style, it does not whatsoever mean that she does not have a full crown underneath her head. She could be just growing out the relaxer that she could just have. It could be a cold weather and she's looking to look after it. If you're not aware of the sorry, I can't get that word out properly, but if you can't understand about a black woman's hair, best to just shut up about it, because you're just going to sound stupid, or you're going to do the opposite of what you're trying to do if you are trying to uplift the black woman and want to see the black woman in her natural state. But I mean, for your question, I'd say that praise that woman, praise and specifically state that hairstyle. So tell her at that hairstyle, when you see it, make it clear that you really like that hairstyle, and she'll get the hints. Just like you would do in a particular dress or an outfit or a certain color that you like to see your missus in. It's the same thing. But the negativity is just so harmful. It's just, you're not getting anywhere with it. And all you're doing is just showing a deep-rooted self-hatred within that individual.
So
You
just
know,
go
brother,
ahead. Go ahead.
I truly believe, brother, that the black man and the black woman's relationship should really be about business more than emotional and idealism. And I know I'm going to get flagged for this, but I'm trying to break down the scientific, political science of it. Is that when a black man compliments a woman, right? The problem is that that woman is going to hear whatever you said before, right? So there's like a science of law of attraction, how to court a woman and how a woman can court a man. So the relationship really, brother, should be about business. Praising the black woman's hair, it should be more to do with knowledge than the praising of the emotion, because we don't know how that black man is really synchronizing. You know what I mean? We don't know if he's his unsynchronizing chip is activated because he still hasn't dealt with colorism yet. He still hasn't dealt with tribalism. So it needs to be more about business. Me complimenting the black woman's hair should be about business, so that she would embody it and pass it to my daughter, so her kids and her kids can embody it. It should be more about business more than the feeling, if that makes any sense.
Very interesting. So to recap, our sister Empress says that a compliment goes a long way, and it's a better strategy rather than insults, as I hope would be common knowledge by now, but obviously not. And brother Carl is talking more so about sometimes the black man might be unsynchronized, so his words might, I assume, resonate well. And the idea of business is something, and how I guess how the hair contributes to business or something. Or maybe brother Carl can jump in more. So this is what the guests are saying. If you're our viewers, your opinions matter. Just so you know, guys, everyone is welcome to jump in to have their say. Obviously, we try to be constructive. I shall now place the link again because our forum is very, very active and you might miss it. So if anyone wants you to jump in, you can jump in the link, or you can add a message in the group and I'll put on there some interesting stories going on. But as you guys can tell, this is a very age-old, passionate topic, and it's definitely one that we want women to be at the center of, and we want women to be controlling of. And but there is a history
as well.
Go ahead.
What I want to also say is like the element of extremism in this sort of pro-black Pan-African movement, because there's an element of like the nature boys, where the people that believe that you should wear your hair the way God intended, meaning you shouldn't want to comb through it. Yeah, they believe that the hair should be locked, and one of the issues that you have with people who believe that is the fact of the matter is the majority of black people do not believe in locking the hair, because the majority of black people in the world do not have locked hair. So they are getting resistance from their own people, because locking your hair is an extreme way to deal with curly afro hair. Yeah. Because you're just not combing it, are you? Yeah. Whether you're using free-form locks where you're just literally just washing and putting conditioner in it, or if you're like sectioning it and then putting it and coiling it and letting it lock, it's an extreme way to deal with your hair, especially when you know the majority of black people don't have that hair. Now, they claim it's the most natural way to wear the hair. They found a passage in the Bible to back it up and all that stuff. But the natural way, if your hair was meant to be locked, it would have already come out of your head like that, but it doesn't. But it's your choice to do that. And if you want to wear your hair like that, but those people need to remember that the majority of black people don't want to do that. They want to have their hair loose and put a comb through it. Yeah. And they shouldn't be hating on those black people who choose to do that. But when you start getting into these like nature boys where they say, "Oh, don't touch your hair, let it all lock, and don't style it and be on the berry juice." Do you know what I mean? And we all know where that sort of extremism lies. Yeah, and I don't know if anyone's heard of Nature Boy. And when I hear black men preach all this natural hair, this is normally how these black men are. Yeah, very extreme. Some of them are vegetarians, some of them are vegans. Real extremism. But they don't have the support. If you had the support, the majority of black people would have their hair locked. And you can't keep on saying the reason why these black people don't have their hair locked is due to the European beauty standards. Yeah.
Brother Raven.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Go on,
brother Carl. Jump in.
Go on, brother.
No. Well, I was going to say, the thing with black people, as we all know, there are many different cultures, many different lands, many different ideas. And I think, what works for one might not work for one at another time. But what we definitely want to create is fruitful discussions about benefits and challenges, and place the option on the table of, I live this way, I do this, and here's the benefit of it. And other people go, I do this, and here's the benefit of it. So fruitful discussions about stuff is very important. But I'm well aware that the topic of hair, there's many, I wouldn't use the term taboo topics, but I would say high anxiety topics for historical reasons. And I would say at a certain point, the hair topic can be a very high anxiety topic. So I definitely say let us approach it with the most constructive way, and let us present our information of what we find necessary for us individually, and let's see if that resonates. But we definitely don't want to be in a certain place where we are dictating and dominating. And definitely we don't want to be in a place where 10 men are talking to 10 women about what they should and shouldn't do. That's not correct. We want women to express their experiences and their hardships. And hopefully as men we can support, and we can maybe give some knowledge about how things were in a certain time, and try to find what works best for everyone. Brother Kelly, you had something you want to say? Jump in.
Now, I was listening to what Sister Betty was saying and Sister Kushti, right? And this is the reason why I was saying, brother, if you look at it from political science, economically, why it should be about business. Now, when you look at the European man and European woman in history, right? He does not like his woman. Cannot stand and stuff, right? In history, this is proven. He's oppressed the most out of all the nations, right? But the thing is, what he does very well, as what the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, is that he keeps his woman about business. Straight hair is business. Straight nose is business. You understand? Tanning the complexion is business. He doesn't even have to compliment her, but he understands it's marketable. That's what I was saying. When it comes to the black man and the black woman, it should be more about business than emotion. The black man helping the black woman to understand the reason why your hair, the origin of it, and where it needs to go, it should be about business, not about feelings. Because if the black man is not dealing with himself correctly and he's having the Willie Lynch chip that activates in every black man and black woman, Tuesday he may manipulate and confuse the black woman. But if you look at it from a business aspect, right, that both of you are managers and we're running a business, and in order for the business to go forward, we cannot use emotion, but we must use technique. The black man and the black woman will flourish more. Remember this, Brother Raven, right? When the black man or the black woman, when anyone divorces, right, you're not going into the court and you're not divorcing, excuse me for saying this, your orgasms or your love and hugs. No, brother, you are asking for assets. You understand? So your movement towards helping the black woman to propaganda her natural essence should really be a business asset that's marketable. You understand what I mean?
I hear that. Now, how I break that down?
Is my mic
Go
on, or
ahead.
is my mic
Yeah.
off? Okay,
Nice
sorry.
song. Do you want to say something, sister?
Yeah, sorry, my mute button, I wasn't sure it wasn't working properly, so I wasn't sure.
Go ahead. It's your time. It's your time. You can speak.
Thank you. I just want to touch on what Brother Cal was saying, and I agree to him. I do agree with certain things that he said there because, and that's why I was saying in regards to the best constructive way, if a black man is going to speak openly about a black woman, should be just praise, because, and I understand what he's saying about emotion and things like that, but it goes deeper than emotion. Now, number one, the black woman's going to be emotional. Yeah, a woman should be a woman, and so we can't take that away from her, and she should be able to be that. A woman's hair, like the Yoruba proverb that you just shown there from Nigeria, is clearly is stated about the hair, right? And that's ages ago, right? It's an ancient proverb, and it was talking about her crown. A black woman's hair is her essence of her femininity. Yeah, it goes hand in hand. So when you're talking about her hair, you're talking about her femininity, and you can't detach from that. But the business aspects of it is like what Brother Cal was saying is true. So when we're talking about a black woman, or we're trying to present an image of the black woman, it should be her in her natural state, and that should be praised. What we're seeing now is not getting praised. It's getting ridiculed at every single step. It shouldn't be a fro. If it's going to be short, it should be like this. I like it more curly. It can't have this closure. It can't have that. You've got too much details in there, bro. You're worrying about the wrong thing. There's too much information. You're too invested in a woman's hair. So if we're talking about business, like what Brother Cal said, the image, what we all grew up when we was younger. I mean, now this thing that we're in now is a new age thing, having a voluptuous lips, a big bum. When I was younger, it was about having no bum, no lips, blonde hair, right? Long, straight blonde hair, and that was the image. Now, whether we heard a white man praise it or not, we saw it constantly getting praised because we saw it in the adverts. We saw it get flashed up on the billboards. We saw it. We saw that image, and that image was blatantly giving us a message, whether consciously or subconsciously, is that is the essence of beauty. So I do agree that what needs to happen is the image of the black woman in her essence, in her crown, in the predominant hair, for quote unquote 4C hair, which is kinky, froed hair, whether it's short or long. That should be the image, and that should be an image where it should never, ever, ever get ridiculed, especially from a black man, because I've yet to hear a white man complain about Becky's straight, long hair, and that's the difference.
Thank you, there, sis. So let's break. Go ahead, carry on.
No, so I'm just saying that we need to also remember that when it's a one-on-one thing, when you're ridiculing a particular woman or a woman, that's a personal thing, and as a woman she's going to get offended, and she might get her emotions in that. She's a woman, she's allowed to do that. And so that's why as if you're talking as a black man, or you're talking about your preference, you're talking individually about a black woman, be mindful of how you're speaking about her. In regards to business though, and black and propping up black images, and for the Pan-African mindset, that image should definitely be of a black woman with her natural hair. Absolutely. But there is the middle part is when it gets messy, when you're talking about how a woman should style it, how she should treat it, how she should rock it, the type of texture it is. All of that is just it's often for most black women, to be honest with you, to hear a black man talk so in-depthly about a black hair like that. And two, you're showing about your own, you're highlighting your own self-hatred, because chances are if you're a black man, you're talking like that, imagine what your black mother's thinking, or your black auntie, because guaranteed that's the hair that you're disrespecting, that's coming out of her head.
But you know what, also the black men that do this, the black men that ridicule black women's hair, the day you switch it up on them, they can't take it. You know, I've had black men ridicule my hair, and the minute I switched up on them, they just started crying like a baby. They started skitzing out, especially the ones that were in love with Becky and Karen and Sharon. And it's just amazing. And that's what you'll find. The black men that have the most to say on black women's hair, the minute you start talking about, oh, you moving like 400 years without a comb. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, my hair from God. Yeah? And I said, well, if your hair was from God, why did you come over here to come talk about my hair? And to me, it seems like it's more about the fact that many of these black men have locks who can't get the support in the black community. Because I know in Nigeria, in many places of Africa, if your hair is locked, it's seen as mad people's hair because you don't groom your hair. That's how it's seen. And also to do with the fact that there are hair for many ethnic groups in Africa. You can tell which ethnic group a person comes from, especially with the women, because they're all wearing the same hairstyle. It's like a uniform. They don't have individuality. So if you start, putting in locks and different, and taking different hairstyles, you break down that natural order. And like some black people just can't accept that just because like the Mau Mau in Kenya lock their hair. That doesn't mean that everybody locks their hair. And the Mau Mau in Kenya don't speak for all of Black Africa. And it's a pity that those men, that people that if you choose to embrace locked hair, know that it's not the only way to wear your hair. And your hair, the way you're wearing it's not superior to anybody else's hair. And that if you're going to start preaching, make sure you can take the criticism that you're dashing out.
Okay, so what Sister Betty is saying is many different hairstyles in Africa. Some of it's cultural. And obviously Emperor Kushti is saying, a compliment goes a long way, and to be micromanaging women's hair is very suspect, and it might be highlight that there's some kind of unbalance and insecurity in yourself, and these are good conversations. I think also you are talking about certain black men who, they might be overcompensating in one area, so that they might feel short in certain areas of how they behave, especially if they're not necessarily synchronized in finding partners. And they might just try and be projecting on some black women. And like Brother Carl and Sister Kushi is saying about the commercial standpoint of black people, which we kind of saw demonstrated in the 70s, where when you're showing, whenever you're showing black people, you can use it as a propaganda machine to make sure that you're boosting the self-esteem of choice within black women, and you're showing what is a possibility. And you're controlling that industry for your own self. But in your private day-to-day, there might be a different thing going on. But you definitely don't want any micromanagement going in from men to women. Just read some of the messages from Cuthbert. Just need black women to rock hairstyles straight from the 80s. Do it, sister. Set the trend. Hopefully, marry. Okay, cool. So we have an 80s fan there, Eric. Very cool. And like I said, when it comes to hair and styling, we understand style is there. But I think the most important thing that I'm always going to speak, because things will change and come back, it's the ownership of everything we're doing, and the control. And so I didn't play all the videos to the end, but some of the videos I have, they discuss about black women going and feeling a certain way to be in the office because a non-black person has power over them to when they can and can't work, and can dictate how they look and also how their children can be taught by a style that might come very natural to black people. So this is another, the failure of black men to have institutions to support black women. So this is not an option. And this is a failure us men we have to admit and try to do better. And then there's the low self-esteem unsynchronized black men who seem to be more vocal than the synchronized black men, who are just making these random videos and stuff about how women should be. So the code is women should lead on women's hair. And as the Empress Akushi is saying, a compliment goes a long way. And as I guess most people are saying here, when we are packaging black people, we want to package styles that are easiest and most Afro-centered, easiest for black women to achieve. And potentially control all the products and styling and culture around that. So you turn your look into a business and something that black people could tap into what's easiest. Does that make sense, family?
That makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. And which is the reason why, Brother Raven, is that another thing that the African woman needs to stop doing, and I think this returns back to, if you look at it from a psychological aspect, that it's either the fathers or, you know, bad masculinity around, but seeking approval of un-Pan-Africanized men. Yes. When I was watching that video, and that there's an African queen there, right? And she's, you know, seeking or asking the opinions of students, right? And who basically do not have no Pan-Africanist mindset at all, right? Yeah. Don't you think that devalues them when they are seeking marriage, relationship, or approval of unsynchronized, un-Garveyite black men? I think the black woman needs to ask themselves that question, is that why do they seek, right, the approval of beta, unsynchronized African men? It doesn't make any sense. All they're going to do is confuse you and raise your kids to be more confused, and then the kids will collect another army, and then we've got a set of unsynchronized African people as we have today. It doesn't make any sense, and that goes likewise to the man as well. He should not be with unsynchronized African women. You know, you can tell the unsynchronized African women and the unsynchronized African men by the way that they think and how they view African as a whole. So don't you think that that needs to be tackled as well with some form of code of conduct?
Yes,
I 100% agree with that. Like, sorry to interrupt you, Brother Raven. I just
go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I absolutely agree with that. I think that I'm getting so frustrated with that all across the board as well. That the most lowest level of our mindset is just always getting highlighted within our community. Like these kind of interviews or these little snips that they were really trendy at one point as well. They're just so harmful. They're just pointless. They really are. Asking someone who has no clue whatsoever, even about self, and then to talk about a next black woman and how she should present herself is just problematic. Yes. Do you know what I mean? It's just totally problematic, and it's constantly the way that the lowest form of our energy is the ones that get highlighted. Because if she had gone to a bunch of brothers, young or older, actually would have been nice to have seen a range of it actually, and they were Pan-African, how powerful would that have been, just listening to their replies?
But I think also in that video as well, like the question of that the black man that married that white woman, when she was talking about how I want my daughter to have good hair, you have to ask yourself, he's the one that married her and procreated with that woman. So obviously he feels that way. He's obviously with the white woman because he doesn't want his child to be too black. He wants his child to inherit that good hair because they were married, were they not? It's not like, you know, a girlfriend. And yeah, this is what I mean. You have to, and this is what I mean. We have to ask ourselves about the black men that think like this. And there was the children, the mixed race children that result in these relationships, you know, and the effect that they have on their black counterparts when they will come in. Many of these children tend to come with a lot of anti-black sentiment, and they will tell you that they're better than you because they got the white man's blood running through their veins, their hair is silkier than you, their skin is lighter, and all this type of stuff. We have to remember that why is that black man in a relationship, and what was his reason? Was it a generally respect and love, or was it based out of a sexual fetish?
It was based on business, Sister Betty. That's why the black man is with that woman. It's based upon business. You know, there's a book by Francis Fenham. And he was a great author. I think Brother Raven, I think you've read about him, or some of the people on the panel. And he wrote a brilliant book about, you know, blackface, white mask, you know, and he explained the reason why, you know, black men, you know, marry out their race, so out their race, sorry, and you know, it's to do with when they look in the mirror, they do not value what they see, so they not look at their counterpart as the same as them, and they go and marry a non-African woman, i.e. the European woman, for economical status in the world. It's always about business, Sister Betty. Sorry, it's not about fetish, it's about business.
No,
Marrying
it
the
is
white
about
woman
fetish. It is
business.
about fetish. It's not just
Business,
about
sister.
business. It is about fetish because they are black men who specifically marry white women saying they want their child to have good hair, lighter skin. Yeah? It is not just about business.
Well,
And there are many of those black men that go on to degrade black women and talk about how black they are, and oh, is the only way to support the black community to be with a black woman? How many times have I heard Rasta men with their white woman? And we all know that Rastafarian is about being going back to Africa, black Africa.
But that's still business, Sister Betty, because as Brother Raven made it clear,
It's
and
a
as the history
fetish
goes,
as well.
Going for the white woman means your kids are going to be lighter, means opportunity for business. Everything is economic, sister.
It doesn't matter. It's not just down to economics. It is a fetish because that black man is not comfortable because a black child does not come out of a black and white union. What you get is a brown child.
And the brown child, Sister Betty, just like in ancient Africa, what does the brown child, even though the brown child is what the brown child is put in what a higher position to control the economics. That's what I'm saying. It's not to do with fetish. It's to do with
It is a fetish. It is a fetish because the idea of having a white woman is that you cannot beat the white man in the game of racism, white supremacy, but you can beat his woman in the bedroom.
The thing is, family, you guys are both saying the same thing. You're saying the same thing, and I think Brother Carl is looking further up the ladder, while Sister Bay is looking closer lower the ladder, right? But ultimately, ultimately, both are correct. And the thing is, one thing that we don't tend to do, and maybe it is an exercise we should be doing, it is to actually pick the brains. And maybe I might do this more when I go Speaker's Corner. Pick the brains of the misogynist people who confess certain things. Because I tend to not want to step into people's business. But once a person starts confessing certain things, then they become open, and they become open to to discussion. And really pick the brain of what's going through their mind. So it's like you have to understand that when you say you love being black and you love black people, surely you understand about the history of whitening. I understand the history of whitening was a tool used for, like Brother Cal was saying, economic reasons, i.e. getting land back, for people who dress like Aboriginal people but look like European people, and that means European owned the land legitimately, and these kinds of things. And then the concept of racial whitening of how to keep on breeding out the black phenotypes so you can have a predominantly European kind of structure. And that was used as a form of biological weaponry. And once again, you see a pattern historically of people who hate black people inventing words to degrade black people. And then black people, after allegedly attain some form of so-called freedom, then start using those words as so-called forms of endearment and empowerment. You see already some confusions going on. And the same concept goes down to the person you pick. Logic will dictate that you do not control Europeans, white people, whatever, and you've gone through a certain level of hell. And like other people groups practice, once you get a certain level of freedom, quote unquote, you then look to the people who was most loyal to you to build institutions to make sure that those situations you went through before never repeat. But unfortunately, through being completely bamboozled and low self-esteem and seeking easy solutions, perceived, many black people, and more particularly men, make that kind of choice. And you can tell by watching some of these videos, just you know, if you have a black man for a white woman and a white woman is saying good hair all the way through it, and you know they're putting your child through a beauty pageant dressed as you know, makeup and kind of stuff, already you have a very unsynchronized black man. And I think maybe at some point we need to really highlight that. And I showed a chart last week. I never got to the we went through the chart last week.
Wait, can I just say something in terms of the fetish? This is the type of things that you hear black men say.
Go ahead.
And this is how you know it's a fetish. When a black man says, I'm with a white woman because she's got her own hair. Why am I going to be with a black woman if she's going to wear all these weaves and wigs? I might as well get a white woman. At least she's got her own hair. That is a fetish.
Yes.
Because you're with that white woman because she's got her own hair.
But
You're not
Sister
talking
Betty,
about liking her. I'm not finished. You're not
Okay.
talking about liking her. You're talking about wanting her because she got her own hair. You brought it down just to hair, nothing else.
Yes. This
Her
is
hair.
Yes. This is
No, brother Raven.
That's
Brother
silky
Raven.
Cinderella hair.
Brother Raven, right?
Go ahead, brother.
There is an interesting book, right? It's called Anthropology, Genetical Fantasy, written by Sigmund Freud. It was banned and it came out in the 80s. I don't know if it will be online. And Sigmund Freud, in his own words, he says that the nature of us as Europeans is that we were summoned into an icebox, meaning the cave, right? And we saw the deficiency in ourselves that we couldn't survive there. And because of the deficiency in ourselves that we do not like, we project that on others, right? So the European brother, his political science is that he demonizes black people and make economics out of it. So when Sister Betty, all due respect to her, saying that the black man likes the white woman's hair because it's straighter, what he's really saying is that her hair is marketable. You see, everything in regards to demonizing us as a people is marketable for the European, because the Europeans understand the African melanin is marketable, which you have tanning salons, and the melanin is sold 350 grams more than pure gold. That's marketable. Do you understand? The inventions is marketable today. Their intellectual potential, which is why we don't have our own schools, which is why in this country that we were made to integrate, because they understood that majority of us was inventing things in our own type of school. Everything is marketable. Everything that the black man does and the black woman, when they go against the best interests of their race, is to do with economics. And that's what I need my sister to understand. He's only gone for the hair because it's marketable. Media, straight hair is marketable. You understand? Straight nose is marketable. You understand? The white man's not going to propaganda this for fetish. He's going to propaganda it for money. You know.
Right. So what, let's try to synchronize on system. Let's try to synchronize what both are saying. Is a video being played? Is that me? I can't know where it comes from. Yeah. What I'm saying is, so what it is many white supremacists or Europeans or what it might be, they understand that economics comes first. How can you take assets and make your life most easy from this kind of stuff? And they present a certain narrative and they market it in a certain way. However, when black people become confused, they will be going for one reason. However, they might not see the legacy of what something else. But then Sister is correct that through the self-hatred, there is fetish. But also what Sister Bear has to understand is sometimes what a low self-esteem person tells you and thinks might be slightly different, you see, even if they know it or not. So these are the things we're trying to unravel. However, what is important for us to know as a collective is what is high principle and what is error prone. Yeah. So, we have to try to trait the inconsistencies. And I made this diagram. I haven't shown it yet because it's connected to last week where we had this error prone and high principle. And this is an expansion of it, but I won't break it down now. But what I would say is we need to really establish what is high principle and what's error prone. And if a person, if black betterment is black people helping black people in all areas of activities, and we respect black families and black communities, surely we understand that black man with a constructive black man with constructive black woman, or synchronized black man with synchronized black woman, is definitely a high principle thing we want to promote. And we definitely want to try to create narratives where error-prone, unsynchronized black people do not represent black betterment, meaning black people doing better. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, they represent the corruption and the ignorance that was forced upon the community that they've studied, that they've been a part of, that what Brother Kel was saying was marketed to black people for our own self-destruction, but for subservience in another person's economic ladder, to which, as when you look today, black people are the kings and queens of being subservient, you see? And this is something that we need to reverse. This was through genetic engineering, and it's something that we have to really watch out for. Okay, but let's say bye to Sister Betty, done really good. And as usual, gave an amazing, consistent perspective, and we always look forward to it. Now, we are actually at 12 p.m., which is this how, when we talk about these very passionate topics, time just flies by, right? So, Sister Empress Kushti and Brother Kel, is there anything you would like to add before we wrap up at all?
I think for me, I agree with you, Brother Raven. They were both saying the same things, but different ends. I think Brother Kale was talking it in more of a logical mindset, which, to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with. I think more brothers should be more logic than emotional, but that gives space. It's like the yin and yang, so that gives space for the woman to come in and then add the I don't think that's, for lack of the better word, the emotional kind of aspect to the argument and the balance to it as well. So when Brother Cal was talking about business, I definitely understand what he's saying, and I agree with the fact that it is a business in regards to if for example at the beginning I'm trying to impose this thing called white supremacy, and it's never been thought about before, I'm going to highlight, and I recognize, as what Brother Cal said about the book, that these people are total opposites. So although I can see my inadequacies, I'm going to highlight them as the best. And we can see that with the fact that what was forced upon us as what was the desired look, coming down the years now, that desired look has definitely shifted, where you've even got white women having to alter their bodies for this desired look, which is like the hourly figure, the more womanly figure, the full lips, the hips, and things like that, which goes to show that it was mainly done by white men, and it was done with this and these white men who clearly did not care or even really feel for their women, as what was said. And it was just to protect this imagery of white supremacy. And as it's been said before, the white woman in a way where she does not have to do much, just her image as it is. But we can see that that's not the preferred image. It's not the desired image, because as now more people can talk, more people can add their 2 pence and put their opinion to what that actual imagery is. It is more of a voluptuous, womanly shape and more towards the black woman, just not black, right? So if I'm going to design this supremacy, an aspect of it will come down to fetishism. It's a byproduct of the supremacy. Because when I look at you, if I've got self-hate and then I'm seeing someone in their black glory, you're showing me everything that I can't stand within myself if I'm self-hating. So I'm going to attack that. I'm going to uphold the initial white supremacy image that was forced to me, that I bought into. And I've said this before as well. If you bought into it and now you're starting to come into, and you bought into it and you've got a white woman, and now you start recognizing your self-hate and you're realizing the truth, you're pretty much pissed because you bought into it. You're here now with a white woman, all the things that you used to say is not true. You don't know if it's really love or if it was just programming. That's a lot of stuff to unpack. So I feel that the brunt of it, what comes out is the after effects of it. And fetishism being fetishized, sorry, it's a symptom of white supremacy, and white supremacy is a business. It makes no sense as a white man to promote anything other than what I am. And when I went to Africa and I saw these women, and I saw abundance, I saw full-figured women, I saw, I understand now that I need to uphold what I am and brainwash that as the image that is the best image for the sake of me as a white supremacist, and for the rest of my nation, to make sure that it continues and we better and we rank higher in all society. So I feel that it's definitely a business, and it's a business of mind trickery. And I think that if you're not looking deeper into that, sometimes I think that it's definitely a business of trickery and mind shifting. And I think when you fall into that, you get into the other symptoms, which is fetishism, self-hate, and things like that. But it all stems from what the idolizing of the white man and the white woman. Because the only reason why you'd say that you don't want this is because you want something closer to that. So yeah, I do believe it's a business, and that's why I said that the image needs to be upholded. But I do believe that from this business of white supremacists, there's a lot of things that come underneath that. There's a lot of symptoms that come underneath that. But it all boils down to self-hate to me.
Right, excellent. A very well timed speech there, and very important speech by Empress Kush, as usual. Thank you very much, sister. Brother Kel, would you like to have your final thoughts before I say mine?
Yeah, I just want to say, I just want to clarify something. The black woman is logical in her gender. All women are, but I'm referring to the black woman. The black man is logical in his agenda, in his gender, sorry, right? When I'm talking about emotional and things like that, I'm not referring it to because the woman is emotional and the man is less. No, we're both emotional. What I'm saying is that it should be dealt with in a political, scientific way. I'll give you an example. When that white woman was saying that she was praying for her daughter to have good hair, she is a woman and very emotional, but that was politically scientific. You see the difference in that, right? She's not using emotion, whereas the black man is being very emotional. You know what I mean? He's thinking that if I'm with her and I can do all these things, it's going to prevent her racism. But the European woman understands, I'm with you for business, because having a black child is business that will help to protect my race. Do you understand? So when I was referring to being emotional, men and women are very logical in the way how the creators created them. What I was talking about, you have to be more politically scientific, less imaginative, less emotional when it comes to dealing with political science. It clouds your mind. That's what I was referring to. That white woman, right? She was very politically scientific when she said she was praying for her child to have straight hair, because that's what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to have a political scientific technique that will keep her from loving black too much, because loving black too much will prevent business of white supremacy. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, but the whole concept of black hair is definitely a statement that's from the black community. So for a white woman to say, she could have said anything. She could have said silky, easy managed. She used the word good hair. So that we know where that comes from. That comes within the black community, and it stems from self-hate and white supremacy. Good hair
Yeah, but
is
the white
more
woman, sister, but the white woman, sister, right? The white woman understands, right, historically, that the most eloquent and preference and logical hair is the black woman's hair. They know about the black woman's hair. Do you know that the black woman's hair is an antenna of enlightenment of knowledge? They know this. When your hair is wet when it's raining, do you know that it still stays the same way? When the Europeans' hair or straight women's hair, it becomes messy. If I was to tip a black woman upside down, right, her hair stays the same, gravity point. They know these things. However, when it comes to keeping business into white supremacists' hand, they must demonize black people. And that's what I was trying to explain to our beloved sister Betty, and that although it may seem like fetish emotional, but the white man always operates on economics. Everything he does when it comes to having mixed biracial Africans is about business. Promoting a straight hair, straight no, this is all business. You know what I mean? Getting us to hate each other is business. It's nothing to
No,
do
and
with
I agree with you, and I said that you know, if I'm gonna design something with white supremacy, I'm gonna uphold my own image, and the opposite of that is not gonna be, you know, that's gonna be the lowest form, and I'm gonna promote my image, which is of that. So I do agree with you on that aspect. So I don't think we're disagreeing there.
Yeah, and let me just chime in. You know, I think one thing that we have to try to understand, and this is what I was trying to push before, is, you know, in our community we're going to have, as I said a few weeks back, we're going to have two divisions of people, right? We're going to have the Betterment diffusion people and the Betterment osmosis people, right? And it's the job of the diffusion community to go out and create the narrative, create the content, create the propaganda, create whatever it is that makes being black and living most easiest, you see, and the benefits of being black and the ease of where it comes to hair, fashion, food, whatever, where it's black controlled and it's done within the black people's best interest and ease of use. So
absolutely, and an example of that is, I don't know if you remember back in the day when they used to say something like the girl next door. That white image was just her very basic white girl, you know, very basic white girl, the girl next door. So anybody within my race can be that image. I'm not making it hard for that white woman to be her. Whereas with the black woman, it's the opposite, right? She has to do all sorts of hard work and manipulations and chemicals just to reach this so-called image. Whereas the white supremacy has done it so well that a very plain Jane woman is now the girl next door. Nothing wrong with her. She's great. All you have to do is get up and wake up and be blonde. So
exactly,
the thing about imagery is so powerful, and that's why I said that the image that needs to be the focus is a black woman in her natural state, where she don't have to do nothing, just as it is with what they've done with white supremacy. It needs to be her in her natural state.
And if you know, well, sister Kushti, sorry, brother Raven, is that just like our African queen was interviewing those African boys, right, in school, do you know that white supremacy do that every single day? They go around the world and they ask people, what do you think about black people? They go around the world and ask, would you date a black man? Would you date a white woman? This is economical. The same thing what African queen was doing going into the school and asking the African unsynchronized boys about. It's the same thing what they do. That's what I'm saying, Sister Kushti, and that, right? It's all about marketing, demonizing black people. We've got to look at it from that way, that when we're raising our children, right, and when we're in a relationship as black people, it should be more about business. Complimenting a black woman should be about business. Complimenting a black man should be about it should not be about this Disney fairy tale of I want you to feel good. It should be about keeping the business flowing. It should be about business. I'm complimenting you because I want the business to flourish, so my daughter can propaganda that business and it goes on. Because if we do that, brother, we can control the hair marketing. We control it. You understand what I'm saying? And that.
Not do I understand what you're saying. I agree. And one thing I would say, just to make it flow better for everyone who's listening, I think there's primary and secondary, and some people the secondary becomes more alluring because of the experience. So the way I would put it is, we know as a diffusion class, we are promoting black hair because it's business, it's going to help black people, and it makes black lives easier. The byproduct of that is black people will feel easier and happier. So both get what they want in that order, right? But as a black woman is feeling great and black man is feeling great, they're not going to remember that that there was this kind of like structure way of achieving this. They're
There
just
was a
going to
business
feel,
behind it.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. You see, so it's like they say some people they don't remember like what a person does, and just remember how they make them feel, like, you know, history when things pass, and that's why I know it sounds like sometimes I'm ringing the same bell all the time. But that's why the thing is, in my entire life, I've been a part of the class of marketers and script writers and production people where we are making songs, movies, scripts, products where we're trying to make a certain person feel a certain way. Once they feel that certain way, they're not going to break down the history and the layers. They're just going to be within that world. So we need the people who understand that logic to build those realities and feelings that make it easier for black people to thrive. Because at the moment, black people are struggling, you see? But when you talk to a person who might not have that mindset, you're talking to more of a person who's more of the osmosis class, you see? They're there to just exist, and whatever is there, they take in and they perpetuate it. When you speak to that particular individual, they might not necessarily understand the breakdown logic, but if you're someone who spends your time, that's why when you talk to graphic designers, musicians, directors, script writers, these people understand layers. You understand that in order to get a particular outcome, there's many different layers and many different systems that go into, and that's why sometimes we just have to like find those makers, the fusion class, and with them make the narratives that the osmosis class are going to follow, and both are going to get what we need, but ultimately everyone's going to feel better, because once we have these kind of consistency going, you feel better, because right at the moment people are not feeling good. That's why you're getting these outbreak of anxiety, and also you get all these unsynchronized men and women who are doing error-prone behavior that is consistently keeping black people in a collectively inadequate state. See?
Yeah,
So,
it goes hand in hand. You
exactly.
take care of the business, and then the byproduct is that they feel good, so they're going to keep it up.
Thank you.
The politically science-minded of that person, the politically science-minded person understands the real business behind it. But the byproduct is, if you feel good and you're going to keep it up, well, boy, that's my job done anyway. You don't necessarily have to know the science or the political thing about it if you're not to that standard. That's fine. But as long as you're keeping up the narrative that we need to keep kept up, then the job's done regardless. The fundamental is getting the job done. The job
there you go.
being highlighting the black woman in a natural state. And if we can get that done, then that's done.
Yeah, and I think that's what Brother Kel was giving you examples of some Europeans, white people, who they might not necessarily know the history, or allegedly, of why they're doing what they do, but they do it on code. And the on code, what the video we saw was naturally the woman referred to her, she prayed to her particular god, no doubt a European god of some kind, that the hair was more like her races, which she used as good hair, you know. So one would say that if it was more like the nation of the father, that would be bad hair. You see, and she might not know the science of how that came about, but yet she is using by osmosis, she is maintaining white supremacy just in that content alone. You see?
Yeah.
So this is why we want our diffusion class to come together to work on these kinds of things. And I end by saying this, you know, let us thank all the black people who are synchronized, who want to fix black issues, and you know, can see the inconsistencies and the inadequacies of our people. But also let us thank those who are aware that this isn't natural, and this is a programmed propaganda that is historic. And just to update you, we understand what racial whitening is, and unfortunately there is not such thing as racial blackening. So in the coming weeks, we're going to find a constructive, synchronized meaning of racial blackening that works in the best interest of black people, and I'll present this to you why it's necessary in order to find betterment, that black people practice constructive racial blackening, and we'll see how that pops out in the end. So thank you very much, everyone. and you have a good night, and see you next week. Thank you very much.
Blessings.
There you go.